Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're taking a bit of a whirlwind tour through the cutting edge of tech and AI. We'll be looking at everything from, smart productivity tools trying to make life easier to some really mind-bending gadgets. And then, we're also going to touch on some important, maybe trickier discussions about the challenges these innovations bring up.
Absolutely. It's an incredibly fast-moving space right now. The pace is just...
Wow.
Well, and as we dig in, you'll see the insights aren't always obvious. We're going to uncover some pretty surprising developments across, all sorts of fields, coding, mental health, even cars.
Okay, sounds good. Let's maybe start with how AI is trying to make our lives, smarter or faster, especially around productivity and learning. Google's AI overviews, for example, they seem to be stepping up their game quite a bit. Like, you can now actually upload whole files, PDFs, images, whatever, and just ask questions about them. How much time does that actually save, do you think? It feels like it's pushing search towards being more of an AI assistant.
Oh, definitely. That's exactly it. And what's really fascinating here is how these platforms are, they're moving way beyond just keyword searches. Take Google's Notebook LM, for instance. It's not just about finding info. It's really about processing it for you in some pretty cool ways. For example, Notebook LM can generate these video overviews. Think narrated, slide-style summaries of your documents, and they pull in quotes, diagrams, data right from your files. You can even mix it up, listen to a summary while you're looking at a mind map it generated. It makes research feel much more, interactive, less static.
That sounds really useful. And for students or, honestly, anyone trying to learn something new, ChatGPT rolled out its study mode. This seems pretty impressive. It basically turns the chatbot into a personal tutor, right? You pick your subject, set the difficulty, and choose how you want to learn flashcards, concept explanations, practice problems, Q&A, and it's free. Someone apparently called it having live 24/7 all-knowing office hours.
Yeah, and connecting these dots, the source material actually hints at a neat synergy. You could use Notebook LM to create those audio summaries or reports from your docs, and then feed that into ChatGPT study mode for interactive quizzes based on your own material.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kind of combines the strengths of both. Pretty clever way to boost learning.
Speaking of boosting things, productivity and coding, AI is making waves there too, right? There's this new tool, Cursor. It's getting a lot of buzz, helping engineers code way faster. They're calling it a souped-up word processor for programmers. How's it actually changing things on the ground?
It's a really interesting shift. So Cursor basically has two main ways it helps. There's Cursor tab that's like smart autocomplete for code lines. And then there's delegation. This is where you can actually hand off small, specific coding tasks to the AI. It acts almost like a pair programmer working with you.
A pair programmer? Wow, so what does that mean for the future of programming jobs?
That's the big question, isn't it? The CEO of AnySphere, the company that makes Cursor, he actually thinks that in the next 6 to 12 months, maybe 20–25% of what a professional software engineer does could be handled by delegating to AI.
A quarter of the job. That's significant.
It is. And the thinking is programming is really well suited for this because, well, it's text-based. There's tons of open source code to learn from, and you can easily check if the AI's output actually works. So we're already seeing big productivity gains. Though interestingly, it seems programmers are using it to produce more code, not necessarily work fewer hours, at least for now.
Huh. And I heard about this thing called vibe coding, like people who aren't programmers using tools like Cursor to just experiment. The idea of someone like me who's never coded, maybe building a little app, that's kind of revolutionary, isn't it? Making it accessible.
It really lowers the barrier to entry.
Okay, but with all this amazing AI power, we got to talk about the other side, safety, privacy. This is where it gets really interesting, or maybe a little worrying. Illinois just passed a law, the first of its kind, banning AI from being used as a standalone therapist.
Yeah, that's a big step. The Wellness and Oversight for Psychological Resources Act, HB 1806. It basically says only licensed human professionals can actually provide therapy. And the reason, well, there have been some pretty awful stories, horror stories they call them, of AI giving people in crisis really dangerous, even lethal advice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it really highlights the need for guardrails. I mean, even OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, says ChatGPT shouldn't be your therapist, so this law kind of formalizes that.
Right, that makes sense for therapy. But what about other high-stakes areas like just general healthcare? Google's Gemini AI had a bit of a stumble recently, didn't it?
It did, and it was pretty revealing. Their healthcare AI model, Gemini, apparently made up a body part.
Hmm.
It diagnosed something called an old left basilar ganglia infarct, which basically mashes together two real brain parts into one that doesn't exist.
Seriously? Made up a body part.
Yep. And the scary part, this error wasn't caught in their initial research paper. It really points to the danger of automation bias.
Huh.
That's where doctors might just trust the AI output because it's usually right and miss these kinds of errors.
Yikes.
Exactly. So it just underscores how critical it is to have much higher standards for AI in fields like medicine.
Hmm.
It shows we're still kind of the Wild West phase, and that has real-world consequences.
Okay, switching gears slightly, but still on the challenges. The business side. Amazon's looking at putting ads in Alexa plus Souk. That's a big shift, right?
It is a big shift. Amazon's CEO, Andy Jassy, sees a significant financial opportunity there. He's framing the ads as being potentially helpful for, like, product discovery. It's interesting because the original Alexa apparently never made a profit. But Alexa plus the more conversational AI-driven one that's part of Prime might be getting ads.
So from ad-free to potentially ad-supported?
Exactly. And it's not just Amazon. We're seeing this trend across AI. Google, OpenAI. They're all looking at ads to monetize these powerful tools. Sam Altman, he initially didn't want ads in ChatGPT, but now they seem to be exploring it. So it raises that big question. How do you balance user experience with needing to make money?
Right. And speaking of user experience and maybe things going wrong, privacy. There was that report about shared ChatGPT chats turning up in Google search.
Yeah, that was concerning. Even supposedly private shared conversations were getting indexed. OpenAI acted pretty quickly, disabled the public sharing toggle, and they're working to get those chats removed from search results.
But it's a good reminder for everyone listening, right? Go check your settings. Delete any shared links you don't want public.
Absolutely. And this connects to broader worries about data safety, especially with new laws, like the UK's Online Safety Act. It mandates age verification for adult sites, often requiring you to upload sensitive stuff, photo IDs, face scans.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And the big concern is, who's storing that data? Could it be used to train AI? The UK government hasn't really spelled out strict security rules for that data. So the burden kind of falls on you, the user, to be careful. It's very different from just showing your ID to someone in a shop. Yeah.
Definitely feels different. And on an even more serious note, North Korean spies using AI.
Yeah, that report was alarming. Apparently using generative AI to write fake resumes, create deep-faked appearances, all to infiltrate companies and funnel money back to their weapons program.
That's genuinely scary stuff. Shows the darker potential. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about some cool hardware, some new gadgets that caught our eye. First up, this Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 6. A rollable laptop. It sounds like sci-fi. It costs a fortune, like $3,300, but the screen expands from 14 to almost 17 inches. Just push a button.
Yeah, it creates this tall boy mode, apparently great for productivity, getting the screen more eye level for video calls.
So is it practical or just a cool concept?
Well, it's described as genuinely cool and a shape-shifting marvel. It is heavy, and apparently the hinges are a bit creaky, so maybe it's still a bit niche, especially at that price. But it definitely shows where things could go, pushing those form factor boundaries.
Yeah, cool to see the experimentation. And in cars, the 2026 BMW iX EV seems to be surprising people.
It really is. It's sporty 402 horsepower, 0-60 in under 5 seconds, but it's also really efficient. It's actually beating its official EPA range estimate of 312 miles.
Better range than expected is always good news for EVs.
Definitely. And it has some nifty tech, like self-parking in under 30 seconds. And get this, you can apparently make it change lanes just by glancing at the side mirror you want to move towards.
Just a glance, no hands.
Seems like it gives you control with just a look. Pretty innovative driver interaction there.
Wild. Okay, durability is always the question with new tech, especially foldables. There's a YouTuber literally live streaming, folding a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 200,000 times.
Yeah, it's intense. And so far, last check was over 150,000 folds, and apparently no visible damage yet.
That's impressive. Samsung rates it for 500,000, but seeing it happen live?
Exactly. That kind of real-world, almost extreme testing really helps build confidence, doesn't it? It shows what these things can actually handle beyond lab tests.
Totally. Okay, for the gamers listening, NVIDIA Remix. This sounds amazing. Bringing old PC games back with modern graphics.
Yeah, it's a modding platform using their RTX tech. It basically remasters older games ones using DirectX 8 and 9 with things like ray tracing for realistic lighting, better textures.
So you could play, like, Star Wars, Republic Commando, or Max Payne, but looking almost like a modern game.
That's the idea. Hyper-realistic graphics. The source even mentioned Bioshock RTX. They used Renix to boost its physics engine from a choppy 15 frames per second to a smooth 90.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
Massive performance improvement.
Besides the big stuff, any quirky gadgets stand out?
Well, there's the Elgato Facecam 4K, a webcam but with swappable lens filters and manual controls like a proper camera. Kind of bridges the gap. And also this charge-retractable 3-in-1 power bank. Super useful, apparently, but also just looks so good, according to one review.
Sometimes design matters. So yeah, innovation everywhere. Okay, let's zoom out again. Big picture trends in the AI industry itself. OpenAI, big news there, right? Huge fundraising.
Massive. They raised $8.3 billion, billion with a B, and their paid business users for ChatGPT hit 5 million. Annual recurring revenue jumped to $13 billion, and they're projecting maybe $20 billion by the end of the year.
Wow, that's astronomical growth. What does that signal?
It signals huge confidence in OpenAI and the whole AI market. It means tons more money pouring in, driving even faster innovation, but it's not all friendly competition. There was a recent spat where Anthropic actually cut off OpenAI's access to its Claude models.
Oh, why?
Well, Anthropic claimed OpenAI was using Claude internally for benchmarking, helping code GPT-5 maybe, which broke their terms of service.
Yeah.
You know, the rule about not using one AI to directly improve a competitor. OpenAI's response was basically that their usage was just industry standard.
So tensions are high.
Very high. It really shows the intense strategic maneuvering happening behind the scenes.
Interesting. And speaking of strateger, Reddit's pausing plans for paid subreddits to focus on search instead.
Yeah, that's their new focus.
Yeah.
Become the go-to place for search.
It seems their ad revenue is growing well, and Reddit content is popping up more in Google searches. They're even building their own tool, Reddit Answers, using Google's Gemini model. So lots of interconnected plays there.
Everyone wants a piece of the search pie, seems like. Pretty much. And AI is core to that. Even Apple's building what they call a stripped-down ChatGPT experience. Their new AKI team, Answers, Knowledge, and Information. The goal is clearly to make Siri less dependent on Google for answers.
A smarter Siri, finally.
Well, the really smart Siri is still probably coming in 2026. But iOS 26 already has things like real-time translation in calls and messages, better visual intelligence working on screenshots. So steps are being taken.
Okay, so with all this incredibly fast progress, where are we really on artificial general intelligence, AGI? Is it just around the corner? Michael Truell, the CEO of Cursor, he had some thoughts on this. He's not buying the machine god by 2027 hype.
No, he's much more measured. He thinks AGI is likely decades away. He points out that while progress looks fast, truly fundamental breakthroughs in machine learning are actually rare. And there's still really hard technical problems to solve. Like, how do you get AI to learn continuously like humans do? How do you give it long-term memory and coherence over, say, weeks of working on a project? These are big hurdles.
So transformational, yes, but maybe not superhuman intelligence overnight. More like jagged peaks of progress.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. A jagged peak, not a smooth climb.
Yeah.
But the economic impact is already huge. Gen AI tools are estimated to add something like $97 billion in consumer surplus to the U.S. economy just this year, 2024.
Wow. Okay, one last quick but important thing. iPhone users, update your phones. iOS 18.6 just came out.
Yes, definitely update it. Fixes 24 critical security flaws, things that could let apps access sensitive data, allow passcodes to be read aloud, spoofing the address bar, serious stuff.
Good reminder. Keep those devices updated, folks. All right, so as we wrap up this tech tour, we've seen AI doing amazing things for productivity, creativity, but also hitting some serious ethical and technical walls. We've seen cool gadgets pushing boundaries and that constant back and forth between innovation and regulation. So thinking about everything we discussed, what new piece of tech or maybe what new challenge for AI is really standing out to you right now? What are you most excited about or perhaps, most concerned about in this incredibly fast-moving tech world? Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.